come prepared. It's a good opportunity to engage with other people across the community too. One of my favorite parts of the legislative coffee is afterward, because many of our elected officials do stay behind to interact with people, exchange contact information. That way they can kind of keep that dialogue going throughout the remainder of the session.
I'm Becky Kiser, Hays Post and Eagle Radio news reporter, and we're talking with Sarah Wasinger, President and CEO of the Chamber in Hays, about the final legislative coffee on this episode of the Hays Post podcast.
This is our third and final one for the season, so this upcoming Saturday, actually April 6th, will be the last day to attend one of those. We would highly encourage anybody. You don't have to be a chamber member. There's no age requirement to come, so if you're just interested in learning more about what's going on in the legislative session, which is quickly ending its smear for 2024, we would encourage you to come. But that'll be from 8:30 until 10 o'clock. Again, thank you to our Hays Public Library. They have hosted us for the last couple of years, and we're grateful for them to open up their beautiful space. You'll just walk in the front doors, which will open at 8 o'clock, but the event doesn't start until 8:30. And we are pleased to have a wonderful panel joining us again, and that will include Rebecca Swinder. She is the district director from the office of U.S. Senator Roger Marshall. This will actually be the first time we've had someone from the federal level joining. So this is a fantastic opportunity to ask those types of questions, which people may not have been able to ask yet.
Perfect.
And then we are always grateful for Rick Billinger. He's our Kansas Senator, Ken Rajas, our Kansas Representative, and Barb Wasinger, of course, Kansas Representative, who will be returning to join us for the final session.
And we really appreciate them doing this. Speaking of appreciation, you've had some longtime sponsors, a couple of them, Sarah, for this event.
You know, Midwest Energy is one of those businesses that it seems like we can't have any type of event without thanking them for their generosity. And so, of course, we couldn't do this without them. And the Hays Daily News is our other sponsor for that event. So thank you to them for making this possible. One of the things that we're able to do because of their sponsorships is provide some refreshments for folks. And
I hear there's going to be something really special this week.
There are. So Kathy Drabkin, many of you are aware, she has the delicious business Kathy's Breads, and she is going to be providing us some pretty tasty treats: her strawberry pecan coffee cake, twice baked almond croissants, and savory sourdough loaf with butter. And if that is making you, hungry right now, it should. You'll be able to wash that down with some of Pat McGinnis's Tasty Breathe Coffee House coffee. And then, of course, if you're not a coffee fan, we'll have some water for people too.
I hate to say it, I'm not a coffee fan. There aren't that many of us, but I understand the coffee is great that Patrick has. And my goodness, the breads. Perfect. It's a great combination. You know, you talked about Rebecca Swinder being there from the office of Senator Marshall and be able to talk about some federal issues. What do you anticipate people might be curious about this time?
You know, going back to last year's conversations that we had when they were able to attend, some of the big things we discussed were the national Medicaid expansion and where that is. Border security was a very hot topic. People very concerned with making sure that our borders have proper, military available, and figuring out how we make that solution stronger for our nation. Term limits for elected officials seems to be kind of a hot topic, especially during an election cycle. So I would anticipate that probably coming up again. Unfortunately, we've had to talk about the fentanyl and opioid crisis that has become very prevalent in the past couple of years, and that hits closer to home than what we might think it does. Election controls to avoid fraudulent voting will likely get brought up again. That did get brought up last year. And then foreign relations policies, we would probably anticipate some questions being asked maybe about Ukraine, Israel, or some different things of that nature. So if there are other topics in addition to those, we encourage people to ask their own questions. We want to hear from the people in the crowd. The reason why we do the Legislative Coffee Series is to enhance that dialogue between constituents and our elected officials here at the local level and at the federal level.
And they really appreciate it. Bless their hearts. They work so hard, and then on the weekends they're traveling and visiting with constituents across their districts, and some of them are very big, but they want to get input from people and be able to provide answers as best they can. And some of these topics that you mentioned, Sarah, that are tend to have more of a national appeal or interest, but they really do come down to the state level. And I know that our state legislator or state legislature has at times and is currently talking about some of these topics as well. But there are other things that they talk about that we would anticipate that people would have some specific questions about. What do you think they'll discuss?
I wouldn't be surprised if taxation gets brought up again. That seems to be a pretty popular topic. Absolutely. And I think a lot of folks too kind of forget, how property taxes are more of a county thing versus what our other taxes are at the state level. But that always seems to be a good topic of conversation. Education, of course, is a very big one because that dictates quite a bit of the state's budget on an annual basis. And then Medicaid expansion has come up the last couple of times. Specific pieces of legislation are usually something that gets brought up to people have their passion points, topics that excite them. And so if they've been following a particular bill, they may ask for an update from those elected officials or kind of get just a general feeling for what the legislators themselves at the state level are kind of supporting. What questions do they have? I know specifically I've been visiting with a lot of child care providers lately who have expressed some concerns about some legislation surrounding childcare. And so I know that I'll be visiting with some of our child care task force members and just crafting up maybe a couple of questions specifically for their concerns so we can get them some answers as to what those changes might look like for them if that bill would pass.
And actually anybody, Sarah, is able to submit a question that they may have, do that in advance.
They sure can. And we joke all the time. Sometimes people just don't have nice penmanship. And instead of me trying to decipher what questions you might have, if you have less than stellar penmanship, maybe you got to need some improvement in that grade level in your education, send those to hayescc@hayeschamber.com, or you can send them directly to my email address to sarah@hayeschamber.com. We would simply ask that you get those questions sent by Thursday, if at all possible. We do try to, get those copied and printed off and ready to include for those. And that just makes sure that we don't miss any questions in advance.
Absolutely.
But you'll also have the opportunity to ask questions while you're there. So we do have question cards located around the venue and people can submit questions. Now, this time will be a little bit different. In the past, we've opened it up to some open mic questions. Since we do have that federal level and layer of questions that we'll be asking this time, I don't know if we'll quite have enough time to get to those types of questions, but we'll do our best to see if we can work that into the mix as well.
Well, it's nice to be able to ask questions at the session. You may think you have a question about something, and you probably do, but as you hear questions from other people that are asked and answers, it may trigger something new that you hadn't thought about that you have a question. So it's good discussions, good conversations between the audience and the legislators.
It is. And I would again remind folks that, they are giving up their weekends to come participate in this event. So we just ask for respectful decorum and be kind of people's different viewpoints. We may not all agree on, how the best way is to handle specific topics or issues that are facing our state or us here at the local level, but it takes all of us working together and making some concessions at times to come up with a solution that everybody can ultimately feel comfortable with. And that's what the legislative process should be about.
Absolutely. And there's no charge to attend?
Correct. It's free to the public thanks to our sponsors. So really, you just need to come prepared. It's a good opportunity to engage with other people across the community too. One of my favorite parts of the legislative coffee is afterward, because many of our elected officials do stay behind to interact with people, exchange contact information. That way they can kind of keep that dialogue going throughout the remainder of the session.
They're really interesting. And of course, I'll be there this Saturday, so you can look forward to kind of a wrap-up on Hayes Post sometime next week. What else does the Chamber have going on currently, Sarah? As we say every week, you guys are so busy.
Well, a couple of things we wanted to remind folks on, because it is April 1st and it's no fool, but Chamber benefits should be utilized throughout the year. And so we just wanted to remind folks about our job board on hayeschamber.com. If your business is looking for open positions right now, this is another great opportunity to showcase what your career field looks like for your business. And then, as always, business bulletins is a great way to post your business's promotions, sales, or special events that you might have going on throughout the remainder of this spring. And then don't forget to also submit your press releases and good news to our team for our monthly newsletters by the 15th of each month. We bring that up today because it's April 1st, and so our April newsletter should hit around 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then our event calendar is filling up quickly for 2024, as we'll share here in a minute. So make sure that you call us to get your chamber chats and ribbon cutting scheduled.
And then the weekly events you have coming up starting tomorrow. There's a lot of things, big things going on this week, Sarah.
I'm so proud of our community. If you take a look at our calendar, there's so many reasons to celebrate. And this week, some of those reasons are a groundbreaking with Fort Hays State University's Forsyth Library. They're going to be kicking off their large renovation project for that facility at 2:30 p.m. So we invite you all to come to 502 South Campus Drive at FHSU Forsyth Library. That event will be held on their main level. So feel free to come a little bit early just to get parking. And then 4 o'clock tomorrow as well, we'll have a ribbon cutting celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Flying Bison Disc Golf Course.
I can't believe that's 40 years old. That's amazing.
I know. So it's beautiful out there. We're excited to join the City of Hays Parks Department. That one, you'll want to meet us at Frontier Parks West, which is located west of Main by the Shelter House. If you're a disc golfer yourself, that's hole number 1. And then April 3rd, we've got quite a bit going on as well. Leadership Hays will meet for their 4th class already, and that'll be from 8:30 to 12:30 at the Welcome Center. And then we're pleased to welcome officially with their ribbon cutting and joint brick presentation with Downtown Hays with Stone Cold Creamery at 10 a.m. That'll be at 507 Main Street, Suite C. And then Igniting Leadership, we have Wednesday evening as well at 5:30, meeting at their new location, Paisley Pear Wine Bar, Bistro, and Market. Our guest facilitator is so engaging. It's Nikki Faunenstill. She's the manager of economic development at Sunflower Electric Power Corporation. She will be talking about exploring leadership opportunities on a broader scale. And then we want to talk about our Thursday events, which HYP, their networking and engagement committee meeting, will meet at 4 o'clock at the Golden Q. And then we are excited. This event we haven't had yet for this year.
Yes, and these are always fun.
They are. So if you haven't attended a business after hours before, it's a great opportunity to just kind of gather socially, dine, drink some nice drinks, and just get to know some of the different businesses in town. But A&A Coors is co-hosting with Oasis Pools and Outdoor Living, LLC, from 6 o'clock until 8 o'clock. So please join us at the venue at Thirsty's Brew Pub and Grill. Guests who are 21 and over will get to sample some of A&A Coors' new products. And then Thirsty's will be catering some tasty bites for everybody to enjoy. Because food and drinks are involved, we do kindly ask that you go to our website, hayschamber.com, to RSVP. This is open to the public, so if you'd like to come and you're not a chamber member, please feel free to call our office and we can get you registered. RSVP deadline is today, so please do call us by 5 o'clock today so we can get you added to that list. And then last but not least, I know we've been going on and on about our events, but Chamber Chat Friday is at 9 a.m. and it will be with Options and Jana's campaign. We're going to be meeting outside of the Ellis County Courthouse at 107 West 12th Street. The event will likely be held outside, so it might be chilly, so you might want to make sure you bring a jacket or coat with you.
Wow, what a list. There is reason to be proud of the different things that go on in the community and the chamber members and leaders helping out with all of that.
So you're welcome to come to everything, and we'd love to see as many of you there. Again, all of these events this week are free to attend. If you do go to Igniting Leadership, drinks and your food are on you. But outside of that, there are so many ways to get engaged in our fantastic community this week.